Yo, what's going on, Snapback fam? It's your guy Conan. Today, I want to tell you everything you need to know for round one of the NBA playoffs, because some of you may just be hopping back into basketball. You didn't watch that much in the regular season. Well, don't worry. I watched much more than any one person should, to the point where it's probably unhealthy and I should see some sort of doctor. If you know one, let me know. But for the moment, I've got some insights, especially if you're planning to bet on round one of the NBA playoffs. Here's some insights that I think could ultimately help you getting back into the swing of things. First, let's talk about the bracket. In the West, it is the Thunder versus the Mavs or the Grizzlies, depending on who wins that final play-in game. It is the Nuggets versus the Clippers, the Lakers versus the Wolves, the Rockets versus the Warriors, and out East, it is the Cavs versus the Hawks or the Heat, the Pacers versus the Bucks, the Knicks versus the Pistons, and the Celtics versus the Orlando Magic. I want to start off with Thunder versus whoever comes out of that play-in tournament, because I am a Thunder fan. I think this could be a great series for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, he's going to wreck house against either one of these teams. Neither squad has somebody to go ahead and slow Shai down. Last year against the Mavericks, Shai was the best player in that series. He was very efficient, scored over 30 a night, just couldn't really be stopped. And against the Grizzlies, Shai's been great all season. He's torched them left and right. Probably their best chance of slowing down Shai was Jalen Wells, the rookie, who ended up fracturing his wrist towards the end of this season. So I think Shai could just dominate either one of these teams. I wouldn't go too crazy on the point total, because I could see blowouts coming into fruition and then Shai's not going to play the fourth quarter. Although Shai's also been very capable of scoring 30 in three quarters a lot of this season. So I think Shai 30 is pretty safe in almost every single one of the games in this matchup. I also think Jalen Williams could really get going. If the Thunder are going to win the title, they need J-Dub to turn up and be the guy that he's been a lot of the regular season, less so the guy he was specifically in the second round of last year's playoffs, where he really struggled against the Mavericks. And I do think J-Dub is going to step up a lot more. I think Isaiah Hartenstein, being the screener that he is in those second units with Jalen Williams, is going to open up the game a lot. It's going to give him a lot more easy shot opportunities. And just in general, I think either one of these teams he can take advantage of. Specifically against Memphis, I know he dimed up a lot this season. He was dishing out like 6.9, I think, assists per game. Let me go ahead and check that number exactly. 6.8 assists per game in the 4 games that the Thunder played against the Grizzlies this season. So Jalen Williams taking a look at his assists could be something that's very intriguing. I think Zach Edey could do a good job on the boards in this one. So could Santi Aldama for the Memphis Grizzlies. If it's the Mavericks, PJ Washington could do good on the boards, and he loves to torch the Thunder from three. I promise you, he's going to hit some threes against this Thunder team. That's what he loves to go ahead and do. But yeah, just in general, I don't think either one of those teams stand much of a chance. So if you're predicting the series as a whole, I'd go Thunder in 4 or 5, probably 5 to just be a little bit safer. Next matchup, we've got Nuggets versus Clippers. This one is a lot more interesting. One thing I want to note is that the Nuggets have Nikola Jokic, which is kind of like the ultimate trump card when it comes to any series. He is the best player in the world, and he's playing some of his best basketball. But Zubats has done a really good job of slowing down Nikola Jokic in the past. He's probably the best Jokic defender out there. Now, the question is, does that matter whatsoever? And honestly, I don't really think it does. I still think Jokic could put up great numbers, but it is something I would at least think about a little bit going into some of these matchups. I'm sure Jokic's numbers are going to be insane in a lot of places. I would just not go too crazy because Zoo has had some success. Jamal Murray's hamstring is the thing that's very interesting in this series. If the Nuggets want to go ahead and win, they're going to need playoff Jamal Murray, but the Clippers have Chris Dunn, one of the best guard defenders in the sport, to throw at him. They've got Derrick Jones Jr. as well, who can really give some issues. I think this could be a tough series for Jamal Murray. They're going to need him to extend it to go longer, but I think they're going to do a great job of kind of slowing him down. This Clippers team has been one of the best defenses in the sport the entire season, and they're cooking right now. Specifically on that offensive end, they've been the best offense in the league over the last 15 games of the season. And a lot of that is James Harden pick and rolls. And the Nuggets have really struggled against the pick and roll this entire season. They've not been good defensively whatsoever. So you want something to take a look at. James Harden dimes. I think James Harden could very easily average a double-double for this entire series, putting up like 20 or 18 and like 10, 11 dimes. I just think he's going to go ahead and tear this Nuggets defense apart, whether it's lobs to Zubats, it's hitting him on rolls, it's kicking out to shooters like a Norman Powell or a Bogdan Bogdanovic, or hitting Kawhi Leonard. I just think James Harden is going to be a nightmare to face off against. I think they'll try to do whatever they can to slow him down in terms of his scoring. They're going to throw Christian Brown at him, I would presume. Not that I think he has a lot of success, but specifically, I keep an eye on James Harden's assist. And Kawhi Leonard is the guy they're going to look to do a majority of the scoring. He's been playing some unreal basketball down the stretch, looking like the Kawhi Leonard that we got used to before all the injuries started to pop up. I think this could be a great series for him as well. I wouldn't be shocked if he averages like 25 points per game or even more than that. We know playoff Kawhi Leonard is a real thing against this very porous Nuggets defense. I do think overall, having Nikola Jokic just makes it really difficult to predict that the Nuggets fall quickly. But most things I do think go in favor of the Clippers. I personally predicted them to win in 7 games. I think it is a longer series, but the Clippers are just the all-around better team. I think they go ahead and get the job done. They've got some more depth. But yeah, take a look at James Harden's dimes in specific. And I do think Jokic's dimes, as well as his rebounds, are things to keep an eye on too. If they're sending a lot of pressure, if he's cooking Zubats and they send another body, he's going to find those shooters. And even though the Nuggets don't have a ton of shooting, if guys knock down enough threes, Jokic could very easily rack up like 15, 20 dimes in a game. Next up, we've got Lakers versus Timberwolves. Another absolute dogfight in this Western Conference. Almost every series but Thunder versus whoever is going to be a dogfight. For the Lakers, the big thing we're looking at is Luka Doncic. Luka annihilated the Timberwolves in last year's playoffs, and it is slightly a different team. Like, they've got Julius Randle instead of Cat now, but even still, I mean, they were throwing Jaden McDaniels at him, Anthony Edwards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, all these great defenders, and it just never mattered. Luka put anybody that was in front of him in a blender, just getting to his spots, and guys were playing good defense. There's just really nothing they could do. So Luka, I think this is going to be a big series for him. I mean, he wasn't as good against the Timberwolves in their regular season matchups. The three, I think he played against the Timberwolves between his time with the Lakers and the Mavs this season. But one of those games was on Christmas where he was playing really well, and he had to end up leaving early with injury. The first game they played was really early in the season when Luka was very much in a slump. And then the last game, they did a pretty good job on Luka overall, but that also was kind of a slump. Like, Luka is definitely playing his best basketball at the moment. And if it looks anything like we saw last year against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Luka is going to put up some insane numbers. LeBron has definitely taken more of a backseat to Luka, letting him be that number one option. And I feel like he just has so many ways he could attack this team. They're going to try and get Mike Conley in switches, target him. He's going to try and draw out like Naz Reid or Rudy Gobert to the perimeter and cook those guys. I think Luka is very, very capable of that. So yeah, definitely think it could be a big series for Luka on all fronts: points, rebounds, assists, you name it, threes. Luka really hunted those against the Timberwolves last year and has done that a ton down the stretch of the season. And he's shooting the best he has all year right now. So keep an eye on that from Luka Doncic. For LeBron James, I also think like the playmaking is going to be a big thing. I think he probably will let Luka cook for the most part, but if Luka starts to go a little bit cold, maybe look for LeBron to find a shot a little bit more. So say first two games, Luka's not scoring the best, maybe look for LeBron to go ahead and try and take over. For the Timberwolves on their side of things, I just really don't know what we're going to get from Julius Randle. I think ultimately this is kind of a make or break series for him, and maybe he steps up now in a lesser role. He's taking a bit more of a backseat, really let Anthony Edwards be that guy, which is great. That's exactly what they need. I think he could dish out quite a high number of dimes. I'd take a look at like the assists if you're looking for someone to go higher on Randle, but I mean, I'm not opposed at all to going under on any of his totals, specifically with his points, because I mean, playoff Julius Randle has just been a nightmare. Maybe he shows up in game one and some of the numbers raise, and then you don't really trust Julius Randle and you go under on those, and then he just continues to perform the way we've seen Julius Randle kind of play in the playoffs in the past. In future matchups, I wouldn't be surprised by that whatsoever, but yeah, he is the X factor to this matchup very, very clearly. If the Wolves want any chance, they need him to show up. And if he doesn't, then it becomes really difficult for the Timberwolves to pull this thing off. I would keep an eye also on Anthony Edwards' assist. I really feel like the Lakers are going to try to turn him into a playmaker. They're going to send a lot of doubles at him, a lot of blitzes at half court, force him to pass out of those doubles, get the ball out of his hands, force him to kick it over to a Mike Conley or Jay McDaniels in the corner or to Nickeil Alexander-Walker or whoever, and force them to try and hit some shots. So maybe Anthony Edwards in terms of his assists, that could be something to keep an eye on, especially if you start to notice that, hey, they are sending that pressure later in the series. Maybe take some of those numbers. If you want my series prediction, I have Lakers in 6. I just think they're too dynamic on the offensive end for the Wolves to really be able to handle and keep up with. And then finally, we have Rockets versus Warriors in the last game of the Western Conference first round. For this one, just my straight up prediction is Warriors in 7, but I do think the Rockets could take it. Keep an eye on Amin Thompson and his defense on Steph Curry. Against the Rockets this season, Steph only averaged about 15 points on much lower efficiency than you typically expect from Steph Curry. Now, they only played once with Jimmy Butler in town, I believe only once against Houston, so that could definitely change things. Keep an eye on playoff Jimmy to go ahead and elevate and open the game up for Steph Curry quite a bit. But yeah, Amin Thompson had an amazing defensive showing against Steph Curry in their last game. He had 3 points on 1 of 10 shooting. I don't think it quite plays out that way for Steph Curry in this matchup, but I do think it is something to at least note in the moment. Overall offensive rebounding is going to be a big thing for the Rockets, and this is a smaller Warriors team, so Şengün's rebounding, Steven Adams rebounding, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr., all these guys could very well rack up the boards on that offensive end against Golden State, so keep an eye on those numbers. For the Rockets, the big question mark going into this matchup is who is going to be the one option and how consistent are they going to be? Can Jalen Green step up? Can he be that guy for them? Because some nights he puts up 30, some nights he puts up 12 on terrible efficiency. It really feels like it's a night-to-night basis thing, and I feel like we could see a lot of those down nights more than those up nights just because he's a young guy in his first series against this really, really good Warriors defense. So they might look to Şengün a little bit more. I think he could have a good series. He's had some decent success against the Warriors this season as that interior threat against a smaller team. So yeah, I would definitely like like the Şengün a little bit more than Jalen Green if you're looking at some of the numbers in terms of the scoring. And I think Şengün could have some really big rebounding totals too. I think double-doubles could be very, very prominent for Şengün in this series, but ultimately I do go with Golden State because they are just the more experienced team. In the Eastern Conference, the Cavs are going to annihilate either the Hawks or the Heat. I think it's a 4, maybe 5-game series if one of those teams really put it together for a matchup. I give the Heat a better chance of taking a game than Atlanta, but just in general, I mean, I think everything goes in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like Dyson Daniels is going to come in and try and slow down Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell, but I think the other one is just going to go absolutely berserk. I imagine he's probably on Donovan Mitchell, but they're going to target Trae Young relentlessly. They're going to put up a lot of points. Pretty much anybody's point total against the Atlanta Hawks in that series. I think Evan Mobley in specific could have a big-time matchup against them. They're going to want to get him into rhythm. They need his offense to continue to be the way that it was throughout a majority of the season. It was massively improved. They need it to continue to be a big-time factor if they want to go on a finals run. So maybe look for them to get Evan Mobley and Darius Garland going. These guys that haven't always been the best in the playoffs the last few years, they need them to step up. So I think this could be a good tune-up moment for them. But just in general, I'm not expecting too much. Like, yeah, I just think the Heat or Hawks kind of get annihilated in those matchups. For the Pacers and the Bucks, this one becomes even more interesting because Damian Lillard could come back for game 2 or even maybe game 3 if it takes a little bit longer, but it sounds like he's going to be back within the first couple games of this series, which is huge for them. I thought originally it was going to be Giannis just putting up insane numbers, and I do still think Giannis is going to put up crazy numbers. If he went out there and averaged like 35, 15, and 7 for this series, I'm not surprised. He has dominated the Pacers a lot in this recent era, and I think that continues, but when Dame comes back, maybe those numbers die down a little bit, although I'm not banking on Dame to really beat Damian Lillard, to be honest. Andrew Nembhard is a great defender that the Pacers can throw at him, and him not having played in a little bit, having to find his groove with the Bucks being really in a groove in their own right at the moment, I think could cause a little bit of clashing. I also, just in general in this series, am still going to lean the Pacers even with the Dame news. I just think they're a much better, well-rounded team. I trust their depth a lot more. They are a really deep squad. Haliburton has been playing at an all-NBA level for the second half of the season. I think he's going to have a really good matchup against the Bucks. They don't have a defender that I trust a ton to go ahead and slow him down. So if you're looking for somebody to put up a big series on Indiana's end, I think it could be Tyrese Haliburton. And I also think Siakam could really just play well. Maybe look for Haliburton to rack up some double-doubles, Siakam to have some 20, 25-point games against this Bucks team that really just isn't the best defensively. Miles Turner, I think also could have some success in this matchup. I don't trust Brook Lopez or Bobby Portis too much to go ahead and guard him, especially on the 3-point line. So if he has some 3-point explosions, I'm not surprised. But yeah, give me the Pacers to go ahead and win that series in 7. The Knicks, I have them winning against the Pistons in 6. I do think the Pistons could put up a fight. This could be a big one for Cade Cunningham. The question mark is his turnovers. He is prone to turnovers. He's one of the lead turnoverers. Is that a thing to say? He turns the ball over a lot. I think he has the most in the NBA this season. He's at least in that conversation. And the Knicks, if OG and Mikal Bridges can force some of those, then things could really start to spiral for Detroit. They don't really have a lot of experience. I think this could be a big-time matchup for Karl Anthony Towns. I just don't think there's anybody that could reliably slow him down on the Pistons. I feel like he puts up big numbers in this series. If you're looking for somebody, he could kill them on the glass. Yeah, big one for Cat. I think Brunson could also have a lot of success. I'm sure Sarr Thompson is going to be running around out there trying to slow him down. OG Anunoby was really good as well in the second half of the season, really down the stretch run, kind of playing like an all-NBA level player at times, being this lockdown defender. I think he earned himself an all-defensive spot, and offensively just putting up way more numbers, kind of taking like a mini leap. I don't think he's going to be putting up quite those numbers a lot in the playoffs, but I do think he could have some explosions, so that's a guy to maybe keep an eye on as an X factor in this series. But yeah, ultimately, I am going to go with the Knicks, just more experience, more talent up front. And finally, for the Boston Celtics going up against the Orlando Magic, also one thing for the Knicks, they never play a lot of guys, like they don't go deep into their bench. Specifically in the playoffs, I just think the starters are going to play insane minutes, so I think the numbers could really rack up for them. The Celtics Magic, I think this is just kind of an annihilation. Like the Magic don't have shooting at all, and never mind against the Celtics defense that is just going to wreak havoc. I think Jason Tatum makes a statement in this series. It is a really good Magic defense, but I think Jason Tatum is going to step up. He needs to be a lot better to go through this NBA playoff bracket than he was last season. I think Tatum is able to pull it off. I think he's going to put up a big-time number. Scoring the ball, the rebounding, the playmaking is a big thing for him. I guess this Magic defense is probably going to try and get the ball out of Tatum's hands if they can, although you can't really double too much against Jason Tatum, but I think they're going to send pressure. They're going to be aggressive, helping probably off off of like a Drew Holiday who hasn't shot very well this season. And I think that could lead to Jason Tatum racking up some dimes. Maybe a triple-double in this series could be a possibility, but I think it's a 5-4 game series for the Boston Celtics. And yeah, go ahead and recap real quick who I have winning each series, how many games. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder winning in 5 or 4 against one of the Grizzlies or the Mavericks. I guess I'll go 5. The Clippers winning in 7 against the Nuggets. 6-game win for the Lakers over the Timberwolves. Warriors in 7 over the Rockets. Cavaliers in 5 over the Hawks or the Heat. Pacers in 7 over the Bucks. Knicks in 6 over the Pistons, and Celtics in 5 over the Orlando Magic. As you probably notice, quite a few 6-7 game series. I have, I think, 3 7-game series. And if you count 6-game series, I've got 5 in total out of the 8. That's a lot. The only ones I don't think that are going to go that much are the Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder series. So that pretty much makes sense. And that gives me a moment to go ahead and I want to shout out the extender promo that they're doing on Underdog going into this year's playoffs. So what it is basically you get more boost depending on how long series goes. So you have a boost token for game ones in the Underdog app. It should be live at this moment. And as long as you use that on any game one entry before Sunday ends, which is when the game ones wrap up, then you get one for all the game twos. You use that one, you get one for the game threes, and so on and so forth. And I believe if it gets out to the game sevens, it's like a 100% profit boost over an Underdog. So make sure to sign up using code CONE if you want to use my code over an Underdog to go ahead and get that promo. And yeah, just keep an eye out for boost. Other stuff that's going to be showing up in Underdog throughout this playoff run. Things are going to continue to be live. Also, over on the Snapback trivia channels, I'm specifically going to be doing a promo where however many trivia questions I get right, they're going to be discounting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's lines, dropping his point total throughout all of the playoffs. So definitely make sure to go ahead and watch those trivia videos so you can get access to those promos when they go ahead and go live for y'all, the Snapback fam in particular. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. This is my first video here on the Snapback Bets channel. I want to do some, maybe if there's like a Big Ten Game 7, I could talk about what I'm expecting, or, you know, just going into the second round, the conference finals and beyond. I'll definitely make sure to drop some more content here. Let me know if this was helpful. Let me know what other things you'd like to see in these future videos that would be informational and just overall useful to you if you're trying to go ahead and place some bets or just trying to understand what we could see in round 1 of the NBA playoffs. But for the moment, I appreciate you tuning in as always, and I'll see you later, Snapback fam. Peace.